Welcome to the fastest stop in town. Today we'll start this Makkot Daf Chaf Gimel. We are going to begin on Chaf Beis Mud Beis by the lengthy Mishnah. Says the Masdisen, Ketzad Malkanoiso. How exactly do we go about Malkus? What happens? So Kaifish de Yodav al Ha'omud, Helach lehelach. We tie up his hands on different pillars, each on a pillar, one on each side. V'chazan ha'chanesas oiches begadov, and the chazan of this place, of the assembly, grabs hold onto his garments. So im nikru nikru, if they rip, they rip. Im niframu, if niframu, if they basically come off, they come off. Says Rashi, niframu is kriya shel tfira. It's like on the seam. Ad shel megalas libo, until his heart is revealed, basically his chest is revealed. The Evan Nesunim Yacharim, there's a rock that's put in back of him. Chazanach is Oymen Alav. So he stands like on a higher level. V'ritzu biyadai shel egel kfula. And he holds onto this strap, and it comes from a cow. That's the hide. And it's doubled over. Echel l'shnayim, 1 to 2, shnayim l'arba, 2 to 4. And there's two straps that actually come from a donkey that go up and down. Yada tefach v'rachva tefach. Its hand is a tefach, its width is a tefach. V'roish megas al pi kreso, and its reach is into his stomach. So when you whip him, and you're behind him, it wraps around his chest and it hits his stomach. So you hit him once in the front and then 2 in the back, because it's all in intervals of 3. You don't have him hit standing or sitting, but leaning. So that is the posture. Rashi says Yada Tefach. This wrap that's this whip that's hung around it, arka tefach. Its length is a tefach, or ritzu atzma rachba tefach, and the strap is a width of a tefach. Umagas alpi kreso shemishayir, that it has to go by his stomach, and therefore we have to measure each guy. Kach kishishaku maka kol reisha shel ritzua b'fi kreso b'tchilos kreso shemak oimid b'tzad hamaka v'umaka oisav roichem. So basically, depending on the girth of who's getting hit, you have to be able to measure to make sure that it hits properly to the stomach. V'hamaka maka biyado achas, he hits with the hand. With all of his strength. This is not just some ceremony. This is a serious punishment. But kaira, and there's someone else who reads, and he reads the following psukim. He continues to do, and then after he finishes his sentences, he goes back. He concludes the goimer, and some learn from that pasuk v'hu rachum yichaper avoin v'lo yashchis v'lo yair kol chamaso v'lo yair kol chamaso. Right, so it's actually 13. I hope I said the pasuk correctly. So again, it's like intervals of doing 13 times 3. Now, of course, we do evaluate him. However, as we saw previously in Dav Ches, that the Shlech Beis Din is not going to be chayiv if he ends up dying. So we evaluated, let's say he could handle 39, and we hit him with 39, and he dies. So it's not you, the Shlech Beis Din, you're only carrying out what you were told to do. However, if you taka hit him, and this is the link between Golas and Makkos in the city of refuge, is that if you hit him more than you were supposed to, let's say you hit him a 40th time, and then that killed him on the 40th hit, so therefore you have to go to Golas. Because we're not going to say You can say, well, it sounds like he was bemazed, but again, this is a case of shaygig. Fine. So how does it goyal al yado? Niskalkel bein. This is an interesting loophole. Niskalkel bein beri bein b'mayim potter. Behuda omer haish berea b'ish b'mayim. So if a person is so devastated, because the pasuk says of a nikla, that you become embarrassed or shamed, that you end up soiling or wetting yourself, so then you're going to be potter. Yehuda says for a man, it's only when he actually soils himself. For a woman, it's even urinating, because for a woman, it's more disgraceful. Let's see the Gemara. So my taima. So what is the whole reason for this? Mishum nikla, because they were disgraced. So this basically already links to what we said. So therefore, if a person gets so devastated or worried that he ends up soiling, urinating himself, then he's potter. Okay. I'm Rav Sheshis. Mishum Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. He said the following. So the Mishnah said that it's supposed to come from a calf or from a cow, but why? Because it mentions the notion of Makkot. It says you're not allowed to muzzle an ox during its threshing time. So why is it written that way? So al smichas a parshis. So therefore, it's alluding to with what do you use to hit someone with, and that is that of a shore. So another interesting smichas parshas. If, let's say, a woman is married, her husband dies childless, and then the man that she was married to, his brother, is a mukashchin, so he's repulsive physically to look upon, so she does not have to marry him. And we're not going to say that she has to muzzle herself as though to say nothing. No. The fact that it says next to the dinim of Yavama tells us that she does not have to marry him, and therefore she can demand chalitza. Question 5. Ma nilman mesmichas amikra do sasim leparshas malchus. Again, because the actual lashes must come from a cow. Ma nilman mesmichas amikra hazel leparshas yavamin. So which again we also already learned. Okay. Fine. Let me just see if there's a question over here. Okay, let's keep on going. Omer Rav Sheshis, Mishum Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. Kol mavazes hamoadim, anyone who's mavazes the holidays, kil oived avodas kachavim. It's like he worshipped idols. This is a Gemara in Pesachim. This is brought down. I think it was also in the Sanhedrin. And moadim, which sounds like the holidays, but Rashi says koyetz chol hamoed. Okay, it's beferish. T'chsev elokem seichel osasalach v'samachle eschag hamatzos tishmor. So it talks about worshiping idols, and then it says Chag HaMatzos Tishmor. So therefore, if a person is not keeping Chol HaMoed properly, it's key like you're avodah zarah. Exactly what? Because the smichas parshas, but obviously you have to think about what's the connection. Anyone who's involved in lashon hara, anyone who is made eda sheker, says false testimony, should be thrown to the dogs. Also, don't give evil talk. It's not listening, and also not speaking. So Tana shel chamor. So we also have the ritzus of a chamor. Kidarish hahu galila, as this Galilean said the following drush, a land Rav Chisda. Pasuk says, Yad Shor Kaineu, that an ox knows its owner, the chamor avos ba'alav, and the donkey also knows the trough of his owner. Yisrael lo yad of a geimer, but this guy doesn't know. So in other words, the reason why we use that of a shor, we already said why, but a shor and of a chamor is based on this pasuk in Yeshaya that an animal knows its owner, but you don't know your owner the way that you violated these things. v'yifra mimish enumaker avos bala. You don't recognize the toiva, the goodness that Hashem did for you. Maybe you'll remember it by looking at these animals, that based on these straps. Yada tefach v'chul. So Rabbi Shema mina kol chad v'chad l'fam gavi avdin lei. So because, as we said, it has to be a certain size to go around and hit the guy in the proper place, and therefore we have to measure each individual. So that means you have to have like a small, you have to like a size shirt. So you have to have a small strap, a medium. El Omarava of Vaksa Isle. There's actually something like a loop. Kiboy Miktar Bay Kiboy Marpaba. So if they want, they can loosen up or tighten it basically, and therefore they were able to adjust the strap so that when they hit it, it will end up going to the right place, depending on the size of that person. The pasuk says that the shayfet will fall down. He call in front of it, hit in front of him. So it says so we learn the number should be 1 in the front and 2 in the back. In Malkanos of Achu, Amrav Chesa, Amrav Yochanan, Manan Mertzua Shehi Much Pelas, how do it has to be folded over? Shnemar Vapilu. Vapilu means it's like doubled over. Almost sounds like the word like kefel. It's doubled over. I thought we learned it to teach us the meaning of the pasuk itself. So you can Yatiu, Mayafilu, Hapilu, Shmamina Tarti. So we went out 2 different things from this pasuk. Okay. Fine. So Hamake Biyado Tanaban. In Mamidin Chazanim, we don't put as this person who's involved in hitting El Chasiri Koyach, weak people, Yatiri Mada, who have superior knowledge. So that's who we choose. So on this, Rabbi Huda says, no, I feel Chasiri Mada, Yasiri Koyach. Even someone who doesn't have such great knowledge, says Rashi, De'ain Lahakbid B'kach, we don't really care about how smart they are. The Yatiri Koyach, and someone who's also very strong. Rabbi Kavasid, Rabbi Huda Mastabra, that we don't really care his wisdom, and will allow someone strong, someone weak. So someone who's not his lower levels of intelligence, that's why you have to warn him. Don't hit him more than you should. Why do you have to warn the guy if he's a smart enough guy and you say hit him 25 times? Why do you have to say don't do more than that? Obviously, if I'm hearing 25, or it would be numbers of which are divisible by 3, let's say 24, I'm not going to hit him 50 times. So it must be that the people that are doing it could even be chasiri mada. The Gemara says no. Rabbanan in mizaris and lamirzaz. The truth is, you can have someone smart, but again, that doesn't mean necessarily that they're going to follow exactly the 24. They may get caught up in the whole matter, and therefore you still need to tell them so that they do the right thing. Tana kashu magbiya, when you lift up magbiya b'shtei yadav, lift up the rope with 2 hands up, kashu makim biyado achas, with 1. Kehechi doleisim mididei, so that it should come from him all of his strength. Vakari kari b'chul. So Tana Rabban hagadol shebadayanim kaira. The one who is the biggest person, the most chashiv in the base, then reads the psukim. Hasheni moina. The second person counts. Hashlishi omer hiko, and the third person says hit. So there's one who reads the psukim, one who counts 1, 2, 3, and the other one keeps saying hit, hit, hit. Bizman she makim aruba, when there's a lot of hits that are going to come, marich, then he stretches out the sentences. If he only has a few sentences, few hits, then mekatzer, he does it briefly, or he'll do it quicker. Like, what's the difference? You can just keep repeating it over and over. It's better to do it equally, so that when you finish the psukim, so too the malchus. The elo simsim, but if you didn't, then you can. Then you can always repeat it. Tanraban Makkot Rabba, ainly elo Makkot Rabba, Makkot Muetas Manayin. How do we know that all this applies? Also, when it comes to a large, small amount, says Rashi, because you. So how do we know? Yosef. Okay, so what is that referring to? Says Rashi, Makkah Rabba, Ainli Ella Makkah Rabba, Reisha de Braisa, Hachi Yisa B'Sifri, Ainli Ella B'Zman, Shemoy Sifin, Al Minyan Arbayim, Al Koyel Oymed V'Oymed, Shamduhu based in Manayin Talmud Lemel Yosef Mikol Makom. Makaraba Ainli Ella Makaraba Ainli. It's a long Rashi over here. Ainli Dechayev Alol Yosef Ella Bezman Shehi Kahu Makos Harbe Al Oimid Makos Muedes Afilu Shtei Makos O Achas Manayin. Now lets you end up hitting him tons of extra time. You're supposed to only hit him 21 times. You hit him 50 times. Right? So then certainly you're chayav. But even, how do we know, even if, let's say, even hitting him one extra time, Tamnul Yosef. Well, Yosef, Hakaiso, Al Eile, Al Minyan Oimed. You cannot do any more, even one more, right? Even one more hit. No. Shumake Rabba, Shanitin, Hakaiso, Bal Karchoch, or it says, Bal Bechol Kaichai. You hit with all your strength. Okay. So that's what it means, that it's supposed to be makaraba, and you're supposed to hit hard. When it comes to a man or woman, when they soil themselves, that's the only time they're going to be free from more hits. We make a distinction in man and woman. It doesn't make any difference. Man or woman, even urinating, they would be free. They both agree when it comes to soiling oneself that you'd be potter. Omer Shmuel, Kaftuhu, let's say you tie him up, Varatzma Bastin, and he ends up running away from Beis Din, so we say he's also potter. Apparently, that's also some element of being embarrassed that he ran away. So in that case, he's potter. Meisvei kola, if he was disgraced by soiling himself, right? So in that case, then we say Berishayna, Ben Berishan, Ben Mishnia, Paitanoiso. Says Rashi, Bain Kaidim Shikahu, Klal, before you hit him at all, Bain Le'ach Shikahu, even after you hit him, right? Let's say you hit him a couple of times. So in that situation, it doesn't make any difference. Paitanoiso, because you disgraced yourself by soiling yourself, which means even if you didn't actually even get hit yet, you'd be potter. Nifsaka Ritzu, let's say the rope snapped. Bishniya Paitanos, Bishani in Paitanosa. You're only potter if you already got hit a little bit, but not if you got hit. So my Lahavi Karatz, let it be no different than the guys who ran away. Where's the Hasam Ratachal Rats? Pretty answer. One, if you run away, that's like a humiliation, like you're running scared. So then you're potter. However, if the rope snapped and you didn't get malchus, then you're going to still have to get malchus. Tanaban. Amduhu likishiyilke kola paitunoiso. So let's say you evaluate him, that when we hit him, he's going to end up soiling himself. So he's going to be potter. Even though he hasn't done it yet. But you just know that's what's going to happen. However, if you know that once he's left based and this is what's going to happen, you can still give him malchus. He says even if you do embarrass yourself at the beginning, you still get malchus. Okay. let's see if there's any questions over here. So we did question 5. Let's see, TA 24. Kol Abriya on Chinifsika Ritsua in Paitunoiso. So we just did this. So what's the din? So if he soils himself or the rope snaps, is he going to be potter? So Kolom, let's see, this is TA 24. So is what we said. Let's get to the Meisvei. Kola Bain Berishina Bain Bishnia Poitrin. Right? So as if before he went, right, they lift at the time before he even got hit, or afterwards, he's going to be potter. Nifsika Ritsua Rak Bishnia. Okay? However, if the rope snapped, he's only going to be potter Bishnia, but not the Rishina. Now again, what that meant is, as Rashi again says over here, is Bein Kaidim Shikahu Klau, Bein Le'achar Shikahu. That's what it means, Rishina or Shnia. Okay, that is TA 24, TB 25. Okay, let's keep on moving. Says the next mission. Says the Masnisim. Kol Chayvi Krisus Shaloku. Anytime a person is Chayv Krisus, like we had a whole mission in Yud Gimel, where you're Chayv Kares, and you end up getting Malkus, to Nifter Yidei Krisusum. Once you get Malkus, you're potter from Kares. What does that mean? From the time that you already got the Malkus, Harihu Kachicha. He's like your brother now. And therefore, you're forgiven. And therefore, you're not going to get Kares anymore. Divrei Rabbi. Rabbi Chanan ben Gamliel. The Oimer Rabbi Chanan ben Gamliel. Ma im ha'oiver averu achas. Noitel nafsho leha. Madach, if a person is over an avera, can be noitel nafshay oleha. So ha'oisa mitzvah achas kama v'kama. Shetinasin lo nafshay. What does that mean? So says Rashi, because we know that midas taiva is greater than midas pranios. A mitzvah is stronger than a sin, or a reward is greater than the punishment. And we, by 1 to 500 ratio, because it says that it's only 4 generations. Midas taiva, it says for 2,000. So 4 over 2,000 is like a 1 to 500 ratio. So therefore, certainly, we know based on the Kal V'chomer that's the case. So therefore, he says that if we see Madach when it comes to an Aveira, that Noitel Nafsho Leha, that you can lose your nefesh as a din kares, as a punishment. So if you do a mitzvah, alachs kama kama, which is even a greater reward, chitnasin lo nasho, that you'll be restored your nefesh by doing a mitzvah. The pasuk says, after all the arises, is v'nichrosu, that you're going to get kares. So what do we see? Hari chayv kares al hanichshol behen. You get kares for being nichshol, and then v'nasan chayim u'limoineya ubadol mehem. But if you don't do these averos, then you'll be granted life. That's what you see on Chav Gimel Beis. So therefore, if you do things wrong, you're going to punish. But if you don't do them, you're gonna be granted life, as the pasuk and Rashi quotes, "Samechle ish ish el kol sher b'saro damashmi misha oisa chukaisai." Anyone who adheres to my laws, ani noisen chayim loy, I'm going to give him life. V'chay behem hakol hayoyshiv loy over avera noisel muschar kaisa mitzvah. All you're doing is just sitting around, and you're not even doing a mitzvah. It's kind of like you did a mitzvah because you had a chance to do a sin. You were about to do an avera. You withheld from doing an avera, so you're rewarded. Now Shimon bar Rabbi Omer, Hari Omer rak chazak levilti oichel asadam. Don't eat blood. Like, who's going to eat blood anyway? Ki adam hu nefesh v'gomer. So ma im da hadam shenafshi shaladim katzim imanu. A person is disgusted in general from wanting to consume blood. Like, why would you want to drink blood? Nonetheless, the Torah says that it's a mitzvah. So therefore, obviously, if you withhold yourself from doing something even if it's repulsive, you're going to get reward. So gezel v'rayas shenafshel she'adam esavel lehen lumach madatan haparish mehen alachs kama kama sheyiskil lo l'doraisa l'dorais doraisa atzay kol hadaros. You're going to receive a tremendous reward for all future generations if you're able to withhold yourself from things that really are desirable, like a person will steal or to be involved in a rayas in which there are legitimate, natural, normal temptations, and you withhold yourself from them, so you get great reward. Rabbi Chanan ben Akasha Omer, probably one of the more famous expressions. We usually say it right before Rabban Kaddish. Israel. Hashem wanted us to have a lot of reward and opportunities. That's why He gave us so many mitzvahs. Why do you have to give us 613 mitzvahs? It's not as a punishment. Pum fakir. They're opportunities for growth. Okay, and that is a nice Mishnah, and that's basically where it ends there. So let's see the Gemara. So his colleagues disagreed with his statement. Be'rav Taninan, we learned Ein ben Shabbos and Yom Kippurim. There's no difference between Shabbos and Yom Kippur. El shezez zedana b'di adam, zedana zedana b'hakaris. We know versus Machal Shabbos for Hesya, it's Yechav Skila, which is Mrs. Basin. However, when it comes to Yom Kippur, the punishment is kares. That's the only difference. Now, v'im isa either b'di adam who. If in fact someone who's chayv kares also gets malchus, and by getting malchus you're not going to end up having any more kares, so the really Yom Kippur is bidi adam, is also bidi adam. So Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Omer Hamani Rabbi Yitzchak Yidimer malchus b'chavi krisas leika. There is no such thing as malchus when it comes to kares. The sign Rabbi Yitzchak Omer. We saw this again in the beginning of the third parak over here. The obligation of getting kares is in a general category. So why does it mention kares dafka by cohabiting with a sister? He actually holds there is no malchus. So for that Mishnah over there in Megillah is talking specifically according to the sheet of Rabbi Yitzchak. That's answer number one. Rav Ashi Yerminah, feel Tim Rabbanan, zeh ikr zedan b'di adam, zeh ikr zedan b'di shemayim. It's true, there is a concept of malchus, and it is true that malchus will forgive you from the kares. But nonetheless, the ikr is kares. Out of the two, what's more significant, kares or malchus? Kares. That's why it mentions that. Rav halacha Rabbi Chanan ben Gamliel. The halacha takla is like him that once you get malchus, you're potter from kares. Who went up to the heavens and to found out that's true? Like, how do you know that that's in fact the halacha? How do you know what God does if there's a chi of kares or not? Pretty unbelievable question. So Rabbi Yeshua Levi, he said that shlosh devarim asu based in shomata, the schema based in shomala al yadam. He said there was these three things in which the Beis Din below did them, and the heavens above accepted them. So Mansal Kaliyav Yasa. You can say the same kasha, this famous Gemara in Shabbos, who came and told us that God accepted our three decisions. It's based on psukim. So based on psukim, that's how we know. Actually, this is different than more in Shabbos. So what is this? One is reading the Megillah, that there's a chiyuv of reading the Megillah because it talks about a molek, but don't we talk about a molek enough already? So that's one point. Are you allowed to say Hashem's name when you greet someone? And also the din of Meiser. So we'll dissect this now. Mikra Megillah except Kiba v'Kiblu. HaYehudim Kiblu Malmash Kiblu Mata. So what we were makabel down here, that there should l'dairis, because Megillah is not in the Torah, right? So how do we come up with this new holiday? So Kiba v'Kiblu, that it was makabel, that this was an acceptable holiday to be instituted. V'shel Shalom Dechsev Vini Boaz. Hey, that's me. V'hini Boaz bo mebeis Lachem. So Boaz came from Beis Lechem. V'yomer l'kaitzim. And he said to the harvesters, Hashem imachem. So how could he have said Hashem's name? Because you're allowed to. That was his chiddush. V'yomer Hashem imcha gibor hachayil. Hashem will be with you, you warrior. So my v'yomer, why do you have this extra part? V'chitema boys who diavad medaita. Maybe he did it on his own. Umishmei loy askimu al yado. But who says that min hashemayim it's acceptable? So Tashma yomer Hashem imcha. Hashem is with you, gibor hachayil. So it means Hashem is with you. It means that Hashem is maskim to your psak. Havas meiser, the bringing of meiser, dechsiv. Vaviu es kol ha-meiser el beis ha'oitzer. You bring your meiser, your food, into the storage house. V'teref bevesi, it'll be food for my house. Uvechanuni no b'zois, and you can test me with this. Amar Hashem Savakos. It will eftach lachem es haruvas hashemayim. If it will not open up for you the store, the openings of the sky. Your kaisel lachem brachan blidai. And it'll pour for you blessing until ad blidai. So my ad blidai. Rabbi bar Rav ad she'ivlu seseichem oimerdai. You're going to be so given an overabundance of stuff. You're going to say enough already. I don't need any more. So anyway, these are the three things. Omer Rabbi Lezer begilmo min kaimos. In three places, Hafir Ruach HaKodesh, they were instilled Ruach HaKodesh, Bebeis Dinu Shel Shem. When it comes to the Beis Din of shame, Bebeis Dinu Shel Shmuel Horamasi, Bebeis Dinu Shel Shlomo. So we're gonna go through them. Bebeis Dinu Shel Shem, B'chsev B'Yarki Yehuda. Yehuda recognized the stick that Tamar brought. V'Yermes Sadka Mimeni. So Manayada, how did he know? Dilma Ki Heichi Di Ozol Ihu Gaba Ozol Nami Inish Achrinu Gaba. How did he recognize, how did he know? Just like he went to her, maybe some other guy went to her. So how did he know, like, he was the producer of this pregnancy and that this was him? So Yatsa Basko v'Yomer mimeni Yatsa Kvushim. From me, these hidden things came out. Let's look in Rashi. Let's see. Haifiyah Rashi says is nigla v'hoichiach b'shas hatzarech, that it became like revealed that this should be known. Says Rashi, what exactly is the mimeni yatsa kvushim devarim nimolim halolu, these hidden matters yatsa shilafi shehuda haya melech, since Yehuda was a powerful leader, v'haya zachsa. And from him, kings should come out forth. From him. Yatsa gezerazu. Anyway, the point is, or another interpretation is Shari Osid David Mashiach Latzeis Mimanu. So there's different interpretations exactly what that means. But Beis Din Shel Shmuel, Dechsiv Hinne Anu Bi Neged Hashem, will answer opposite Hashem, but Neged Mashiachai, opposite the anointed one, is Shor Mi Lakachti, the ox who's taken. V'yomu Lo Ashaktanu V'lo Ritzosnu, I didn't take it. Yomer Ad Hashem V'ad Mashicho Kil Matzosim Biyadim Uma. You'll see, as I swear, that you will not find anything in my hands. V'yomer ad v'yomer v'yomer meboile. So what does it mean v'yomer ad v'yomer v'yomer meboile? It's just that they should say. V'yatzabasko v'yomer ani aid b'davar zeh. I am a witness on this matter. Says Rashi, b'beis dino shel Shmuel, that will olam Yisrael omru aid. The Hadik said Yomi ben Israel. Okay. Let's see. Is there Rashi on this? No. Okay. V'yomer, I am a witness to this matter. Okay. Weiter. But Beis Din Shel Shlomo, Dichsev V'yan HaMelech, the king answered, V'yomer Tenu Lanu as a Yeled Achai, give me this living child, V'hames Lo Temituhu, and don't have him die. Ki he imo, because this is the mother. So mina yada, how did he know? Dilma sruma mi arma. Maybe she was tricking him. In other words, how did, when it came to this question of who the mother was, is she the mother? Is she the mother? How did he know? So yatsa baska v'yomer he imoi, because a voice came out and said, this is the mother. So Rabbi Mamai Dilma Yehuda Kivan Dichashiv Yarche v'Yomi Yisrami Dechazinan Machsakinan Deloy Chazin Lo Machsakinan. Maybe it's just because Yehuda knew the precise time that he was with Tamar, and therefore, for him it's understood, for everyone else not. So therefore, he understood that he was really the father. Shmuel Nami Kul Yisod Karilhu Blushan Yechidi. So he said, oh, why does it say V'Yomer V'Yomru? So it may not be talking about the Shemayim saying this. Could be Yisrael themselves. Let's say Yisrael Naishim Hashem Shomanami Midaha Ka Merachmasa V'Halo Ka Merachmasa. Maybe the fact that one woman is showing compassion for this child, the other one didn't care, and was split down the middle. She said, okay, fine. So it's clear who it was. El Gamra. The answer is Gemara. It's through Kabbalah. It's through tradition that we know that this actually was revealed from Shemayim. Otherwise, you could perhaps come up with other reasons why you would think otherwise. TB25. Elu shlosh devarim asu based in Shomata v'skimu based in Shomala al Yadam. So these are the three things, which is actually the exact same question as question 6. This is TB25, and I wrote, hopefully the right answers, Mikra Megillah, Boaz, Omar, Shalom Hashem, L'koitzrim, Inyan Meiser V'yachal Havchanas Hashem, Ad Bli Dai, that you can test God up until that point, okay, which is the same as question 6, and let's see, maybe TA, there's another question, Ad time.